Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Product Spark. So when we talk about product innovation, we usually think about how the product is designed, how is it sourced, how is it packaged, or how is it sold. But today, something has changed. The product is no longer only the item. More and more, it's becoming the platform itself. And this is because the platform decides what customers see, what is relevant, how difficult or how easy is it to make a decision. And this is supported by AI. Now, from an outside perspective, customers don't say this platform uses AI. They think this platform feels easier or smarter. And this is exactly what we'll be exploring today. So starting with why the platform feels smarter today, what changed, and what does it mean going forward for platform? So I will start with you, Kimberly. So if you can please tell us what feels different from a luxury retail perspective in terms of how customers browse or discover products.
Sure. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Kimberly Roditi, VP of Product and Design at Shell Hoop Group. I've been in luxury now for, I think, just over 12 years. And what I've really learned is that customers, they don't want to have too much choice. It's so overwhelming. They want reassurance. They want confidence that they're choosing the right products. They're time poor. They don't also want to spend all their time searching for that right product. And that, the thing is that they can be overwhelmed with options, right? And I think we've moved from a world of like endless browsing to, I call it guided discovery. And I think that's really important. I think I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. Where search, trends, availability, and context work together to narrow down options for them. And I think more SKUs has never improved the world of luxury, but better decisions have, if that makes sense. So an example of what we're doing today is we have an intelligent search tool. We're using a third party called Constructor.io. We are integrating them across multiple brands on our e-commerce websites and our apps. And that is a combination of like AI and machine learning. And that really is based on trends and also on-site or on-app behaviors, again, to help customers find the right product as quickly as possible. And then also be served, I would say, not just from a search perspective, but also be able to see the relevant searches they make dependent on their browsing from then on. So we're going live with that in the next few months. And I've also used search, I would say, third parties also at Yoox Net-a-Porter Group, where I was at for 10 years as well. And we really have seen impacts on conversion as a result of that. That's mine.
Thank you. And if we now look from a marketplace perspective, Ekaterina, can you please tell us what feels different today on FlowWow as compared to maybe a couple of years ago?
So my name is Ekaterina, and I present today FlowWow, the gifting and flowers marketplace. So in our marketplace, the most important, which is very similar to actually their fashion industry, that people needs recommendations. People actually are not looking forward to search seamlessly and keep choosing, okay, what would be the best gift for your friend, for your girlfriend, for your husband? And it all has to be based on the occasion and also the location. Because, for example, us, we are present in 40 countries, so we must be very much localized. So what have changed in our perspective that we made every journey for every customer in every city, in every country, very personalized. So people actually, when you enter the platform, you're not struggling with, okay, what would be the best flowers or the best gift for this particular occasion, for this particular day. For example, Valentine's is coming up. For us, it's the biggest day of the year. Actually, right now, me sitting here, like I was working the entire morning because we have a lot of special occasions going on offline, a lot of marketing campaigns are going on. And our job is to make sure that everybody knows what to present to their beloved ones. And we achieve this through personalization and through understanding our audience. We've been making a lot of research throughout these years on every market we are entered already. And that, I believe, made it much easier. And when we're summarizing what have we changed in the past year, we used a lot of AI, to be fair. We used it pretty much in half of our journeys, starting from partial customer support, transactions, omnichannel choice, and many other aspects where it's actually possible to use AI as a tool in order to make the customer journey much easier for people. So you do not struggle to choose a gift. You just go, enter Flowow, and you send flowers to gift anywhere you want in the world.
So what's very interesting from both of your stories is that it's not about showing more product, right? It's to help customer making this decision faster, right? Is the platform is essentially reducing the time between I need something to I found something.
Can I add actually here? This is a very cool point about, because you know social media channels, they tend to keep people inside the platform. I believe as e-commerce platforms, we have to make sure that people do not spend that much time on purchasing while they can buy everything they need quickly, seamlessly, without overthinking and not wasting time on it. Because why actually everything got so digitalized? Because people don't have much time to go to shopping malls. They tend to order online much more. And our job is to make it easier for them and spend less time, so then they can actually have free time, have time with their family, their beloved ones, and actually have some lifetime balance.
But this is exactly what we're referring to when we say the platform today seems easier or simpler for customer, right? Now, Matt, you come from a different environment where customers typically don't browse clean catalog, right? It's user-generated content. So from your perspective, what does feel smarter or easier today on Dibizzle compared to maybe a couple of years ago?
Yeah, sure. So Matt Gregory, I'm one of the directors in the strategy team at Dibizzle. I think before we sort of answer that question, we need to look at scale. So the scale of Dibizzle, because it's pretty big. We have 4.4 million active users coming to the platform every month. So that's nearly half of the population of the UAE. I think if we look at the number of listings that these users are generating, we're looking at about 900,000 listings every month. Now, if we take that into a classified perspective, right, so I'm going to leave the cars and the property vertical aside, but just in the classifieds part, you know, out of those listings, 338,000 listings are generated monthly. Now, if we look at page views across the whole site, we're talking billion. You know, 2.4 billion, in fact. So, you know, the size of Dibizzle is huge. So we need to make sure that actually, when people are looking for what they want, we're able to actually surface that. Now, I had a look before we came on. We had 9,175 iPhones, just iPhones. No Androids, nothing else, just iPhones, right? So this gives you an idea of scale and what we have to do as a platform in order to make sure that users are able to find what they want, you know, when they want it, because clearly they're generating lots and lots of views on the platform. So if we look at a couple of years ago, so I joined the company back in 2017. It was a very different company back then, you know, trust and safety, and I'll go on about that later on. But there's lots of things that we do across the platform in order to make sure that users are able to actually find what they want, because we're at a different part of, say, a product life cycle. We're not at the point when it's new. When we might go on Shaloub's group website or a partner website and see something that's actually new. We're at the point whereby actually that product has come to the end of its possible useful life, or the person just doesn't want it anymore. At that point, then Dibizzle gets activated as an e-commerce platform, where actually what we're trying to do is make sure that that user is able to surface list their listing, their handbag, their watch, their iPhone, and make sure that actually that listing is as good as it possibly can be with the right attributes, the right labels to ensure that other users coming into the website are able to find what they want when they want it. So we're looking to ensure that we're cutting that length of time down to ensure that if I come to the website looking for an iPhone and I'm looking for a specific one with specific storage and age, I'm able to actually find that, because searching through 9,175 iPhones is going to take you quite a long time. So you want to make sure that actually you're getting to what you want as quickly as possible. And I think that's what we invest a lot of time in. The taxonomy of the website, so the actual products, if we look at cars, for instance, the make, model, trim, right? We want to make sure that actually you're finding exactly what you want in as quick a time as possible to ensure that you can then start to interact with that person selling that particular product. So this is where we've invested a lot, and again, I joined, in 2017. It's moved forward so much from then. Both in terms of scale, size, and also how we use product and AI, because we're here for AI. And actually, if you go onto the site now, you can actually sell with AI. So just take a picture of a particular product, and it will actually come up with a listing for you. Better the listing, more chance you have of selling it. But sell with AI is something that's very relevant to this panel, and we're using and putting it as part of the product journey so that people can actually spend as little time as they can to list their product, therefore getting as many people as they can interacting with it.
No, that's very interesting. And I think if we think back to the platform, nowadays it's not just to connect people together, it's also improving the quality of the supply, which make customer life easy, once again, so the platform feels easier. And it's a bit what I've heard from the three of you. The platform really helps customer making sense of complexity, if I can say. But why do customers feel that way? Which takes us to our next question, right? So the platform or the decision used to be made manually, which sometimes was very difficult to do that, or impossible even to do that at scale. But today the platform allows for a much more efficient process. So Bapaditya, to your point, or at your scale, what decision is now AI-driven, which directly impacts customer experience?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bapaditya. I look at the digital transformation and enterprise transformation for BFL Group, overall the tech stack and the systems. So if you see Brands for Less, so we are not like a traditional retailer. We call ourselves off-price treasure hunt. So basically, we don't want customers to come and find exactly what they want within a few minutes and walk away from the store. We want customers to come, spend a good quality time searching, and finally find a treasure and get the joy and the thrill of finding that treasure, right? So this is what keeps our customers from coming back. So what does that mean? That means that customers needs constant new products, that freshness and the newness, new collections, new deals, new brands, categories coming into the store, so that every time they come to a mall where we are present, they come and pay us a visit and hopefully buy something, right? So we represent a very, very wide set of categories. Now, that brings to the question that we run very low on depth because we don't get all the sizes, we don't get all the colors, etc., right? So our business thrives on the range and the width rather than the depth. So just to give you a number, we have around 30 million units or pieces of stock only in UAE across our business, and that is on 8 million SKUs. So imagine 8 million SKUs having 30 million pieces, so on an average, 3 to 4 pieces per SKU. Now, scale it up to all the other countries where we are, and imagine in retail you have to set up these items, right, in your master data and enterprise systems and make all these information flow across. We obviously cannot afford a huge team of data entry operators to set these up, right? So one of the things that we have done through AI is attribute extraction. So what does that mean? That whenever we get an offer from our suppliers, it comes in a big Excel sheet, 10,000, 20,000 UPCs and items. It comes with a small thumbnail image, and it just comes in descriptions. Sometimes those descriptions are in French, German, not English. So what we do is we feed all of that into a tool, and the tool does attribute extraction, and essentially it goes and gives exactly in the format that we need, which can be set up as products, right? So that is one of the efficiencies that we have built over the years, in the last couple of years, as we implemented our new Oracle enterprise systems on Merge Foundation and other areas. Another thing is that a lot of the product life cycle that we sell starts in the warehouse because we get a lot of unexpected items. So the supplier said, I'm going to give you blue Nike shoes. He ends up giving red Nike shoes, a different style, different color, different size. And the poor guy in the warehouse who is receiving doesn't have any clue of what to do with that because it doesn't scan, right? So we have introduced a process where you just show it to the camera, it sees the image, it generates all the attributes, and in the back end, it triggers an agentic flow that goes and creates that item. So all the staff has to do is scan and put it in a box, and boom, it goes, right? We don't have to worry about that item not being present in any of the other downstream systems. So that's kind of a generative AI use case that we've implemented. And along with that, there are a couple of predictive AI use cases that we have also gone ahead with. One of them is the pricing optimization and the replenishment optimization, because with so many millions of SKUs, you cannot have a one in, one out. You cannot have a min-max method of replenishment because obviously there's no depth, right? So how you intelligently replenish, how you intelligently price those items so that you send the right product to the right store at the right time and with the right price to be sold to the customers, because we offer 70%, 80% discount with respect to the original brand price. So to find all of that data and manage that whole complexity of sending with so much of variety and the width across our stores itself is a very large, complex problem, which we are trying to solve with predictive AI solutions, again on the AI Foundation solutions that we have subscribed to.
So this is actually very interesting because I don't think the customer directly see those decisions, right? But they can definitely see the results. So in terms of better availability, less out of stock, pricing consistency. So here the reliance is what the customer feel or the experience. Now, Jennifer, your model is a bit different. So can you please tell us in a Flash and model how the processes or how AI play a role in terms of the timing, the pricing, or the creation of the experience itself?
Thank you, Leah, and thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. So I'm the co-founder of Hushday, which is a private sales platform. I have to introduce it because we're not as well known as Brands for Less or Shaloub. And that's a very good question because indeed on a flash sales model, we are working on a very short window, like it's a limited time flash sale. We operate flash sale that lasts only 3 to 5 days. So we don't have second chance. I was working in e-commerce for 15 years and I was enjoying doing A/B testing. But in that particular case, we cannot do any A/B testing because we have to get the right price at the right moment and the right item. So everything remains on the 3 pillars you said: curation, pricing, and the velocity at the end. So how do we do that? So first of all, AI does not replace human. AI empowers us. It doesn't replace instinct because, for example, for the curation, AI is not yet the best tool to feel that this brand is hype and this is the right moment to get it. And also because we're a solution for brands. So when a brand calls us because they have an overstock, we cannot say like, I think maybe we'll do it in November when you are in January. There are some constraints. So we try to adapt and to bring the right drop at the right moment for the customer. So the customer, they don't feel that there is just an offer. They feel that this is the right item and just right now. So all our model works on two things, scarcity and velocity. Because scarcity without velocity is just another unsold item, but velocity without scarcity is just a permanent outlet, which we are not. And you're doing an amazing job, of course, but we only have, as I said, 3 days. So before we operate a flash sale, we're gonna use AI to know what is the right pricing for this product to have the best sell-through rate while we protect the brand. Because on some items, we don't need to go up to 90% off because it's a very desirable brand. It's an essential, so 60 will be enough. And this is based on our historical data, on our instinct, but empowered by AI. So the right pricing to have the best sell-through rate, the curation, and also the right moment when to do this drop. And we did a lot of tests because I worked for maybe 15 different companies, and what works for one doesn't work for another. So AI cannot predict all the time, even if it's super useful. We have to try, okay, what about opening a flash sale on a Friday morning, just before parents drop their kids to school? Or what about if we do a physical event in D3, it has to be between Friday and Thursday, because on Friday people work remotely. This is based on our instinct and our experience. So this is all about how we use AI. It's not AI. Do you use AI? It's how do you use it to empower what you already feel, and how can you increase, in that case, the sell-through rate, which is our main KPI for us.
Thank you. And I think it's also very interesting to see in your experience, or in your case, the experiences around timing, which create essentially the urgency to buy, right? So the data here is more to support you on when to launch and at what price, right? Now, Matt, back to you. So things have also a bit shifted in Jubizel. So can you tell us how the platform supports in terms of classified visibility and ranking?
Yeah, sure. So if we look at classifieds, right, these are items that arguably are second-hand to some, albeit are too expensive for others to buy new, so therefore they're in the market for something that's already been used. If we then look at how that listing is promoted on the site, right, it's our job to ensure that as a user posting a handbag, a watch, an iPhone, whatever it may be, in the classified space, that we're able to offer as many labels, as many prompts as we can to ensure that the user is able to find that through the filters and the search that we actually offer them. Again, let's go back to the iPhone opportunity here, right? 9,100 iPhones. You need to make sure that actually you're not looking at an iPhone 6, you want an iPhone 16. So we're making sure that actually through those attributes that things are raised and surfaced as much as they can. Now, it's free to list an iPhone. It's free to list anything that you want to in classifieds. Where then the monetization approach comes from our platform anyway is then to enhance that listing to boost it to the top. There's no algorithm per se that's going to get you there. If every listing was just a normal listing, we want to make sure the user has an opportunity to boost that listing, to enhance the sell-through rate of that listing, so to make sure that it gets picked up as soon as they can. Clearly, we give prompts, right? So again, it's not a pricing prompt, but just to make sure that actually the visibility metrics are there, so that as a user, you can understand what the benefits are of investing, say, 15 dirhams to push your listing further up the search. But there's no secret sauce here, right? We want to make sure it's fair for everybody on the platform. As long as you're following the rules of the platform and making sure that actually, you, as a verified user, again, we might have time to go into that later, you're able to then, have the best possible opportunity to sell that product. So it really comes down to the user, how much effort, how much time, what you want to do, to the number of pictures, how descriptive you are around what you want to sell, gives you an opportunity to be able to then sell that product earlier, right? So it's not about relying on a product description that's in German or another foreign language. It's about your product description as a user, how interesting you want to make that. And actually, if you use the Sell with AI function, it does give you, I think I listed a green table the other day. It gave a paragraph, right? A paragraph around what this green table could actually be. If I was listing it, green table, so high, so wide, and away you go, right? So it's giving you an opportunity to be far more descriptive, especially in this region, where English might not be your first language, and actually it might be something that you can use in order to ensure that you're being as descriptive as possible in a language that you may or may not feel overly comfortable in. So we're doing all these things in order to make sure that we're enhancing the experience, one of the poster or of the person that's selling, but two of the buyer, so they can really understand what they're about to buy, because the transaction is off platform. I don't know if most people may or may not have used a Bizzle, but you generally will go and meet somebody somewhere, exchange some cash, and away you go, right? So we want to make sure that actually, once you get to that transaction, you're buying exactly what has been described. So these are ways in which we're trying to enhance it in order to ensure that as a user, as a buyer, you understand and feel comfortable buying exactly what's described. You don't get to that transaction and find that actually it's not at all what's described, and the state of that item is something that you're not going to want to buy, because there comes a bit of awkwardness if you want to walk away. But encourage people to do that if they don't feel comfortable with it. But yeah, those are sort of ways in which we're trying to encourage people to put as much as they can in order to make sure that they can sell as quickly as they can.
So from what I understand across the board, that customer experience typically comes from better decision, right? And some of those decision happens behind the scenes that customer won't necessarily know or see. What they will see is, again, the result of those decisions, right? So if we get back to the customer, we want to understand where do they actually feel this intelligence. And Kim, back to you. So if we look into the luxury retail, where do those AI-led decisions show up in the customer journey? Maybe in the search, recommendation, chatbot, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so I think it's going back again back to faster decision making, the relevant information to help that decision making. And I think this is linked perfectly to I'm introducing you to Layla. So Layla is the region's first beauty chatbot, like a beauty advisor. So we've launched this on Faces, our own Shahub beauty brand, just not so long ago in August. So Layla is, she speaks Arabic and she speaks English. She's there as soon as you enter, as a user, you enter the website, the app, soon to be website. And you can ask Layla anything you want about your skin, your beauty needs, what brands and products she would recommend based on what you're asking for. And using OpenAI, we built the tool ourselves, and she makes product recommendations, etc., and gives that kind of one-to-one interaction. We're seeing incredible results from that. And I think, in terms, just to give a few stats here and there, we've seen 2.6 times conversion for those who use Layla versus who don't. We're seeing hundreds of thousands of interactions and conversations with Layla. And in addition to that, we see AOV is almost double of that of, again, non-Layla users. So it's been seriously successful. We've had appetite from all our other brands in fashion, multi-brands, etc., to have a Layla of their own. And actually what we've decided to do strategically is to continue with Layla as the beauty consultant. And really kind of, I would say, start small, but do it really, really well. And then we can start thinking to kind of expand out. I suppose other things about Layla, she's also trained on local nuances. So you can ask her anything, is a product like halal or not halal, and she will give you advice based on those questions. But yeah, I see that as, again, when we were first doing this, I think a lot of people thought, it's another search, it's another chatbot. But actually, I think it's been, it's very successful. And again, we did this as an A/B test. Sorry. We could see the success in that, and then we just started developing it further and further. And the kind of future of this is moving beyond having this as on the app, but really kind of truly omni-channel. So we're looking at Layla on websites, Layla in clienteling, so in our stores, in our physical stores, to help our, I would say, our store consultants be able to make better recommendations and give better services to customers who walk through the door. Yeah, I think I'll stop there. But I could talk about Layla forever, but I'll try not to.
And I think this is a perfect example, again, that AI is not only there to push product, right? In your case, it's more reducing customer doubts. And again, confidence, I think, is very important, is a key matrix of customer experience, especially in luxury retail.
Thank you.
Ekaterina, can you also please explain to us how is this intelligence showing out throughout the customer journey? I know you touched on it a bit earlier. Maybe it's around the speed, the fewer steps that the customer needs to take to essentially increase the overall experience.
Yeah, of course, the relevance and the speed is crucial, as I mentioned before. Actually, fun fact, like when you were talking about the Layla, we also launched the Flowow Gift Assistant.
What?
Yeah, to actually help people to make easier choices with gifts. And because, in my opinion, it was my first initiative last year, and we're still training it. So like we're trying it more on the open source in order to actually make sure that people, it makes it easier to make choices of gifts. Because, for example, imagine you're a man who just met a girl, and you don't know much about her, and how would you like to impress her? You have no idea. So actually, we build this assistant to help you ask the relevant questions to make it easier for you to pick the right gift so you can develop the relationship. This is one case scenario. And it's very realistic, in fact. Or for example, if it's a birthday of your bestie who you know so well, it would be so simple to actually pick something for her if you just direct it in the right direction. So this is one of the ways how you can build up with AI. Then another initiative which we also started last year, we're integrating their CRM system Brace, which is, in my opinion, is amazing. So we can actually make sure that our journey starts from the moment when the person sees the ad. And advertisement, performance marketing is already quite established, I would say, because with like how Facebook and Google run ads these days, they use AI to find the relevant audience for the relevant product. But the key point is how you're going to use it later in order to build your retention. And that's a problem for many, many companies. And the way how we are solving it is so from the ad that the person's seeing, the first touch when we have it, then we help you to understand, okay, you get to the search, then we estimate what kind of products you were viewing. For example, today you were ordering, let's say, flowers, but then also you checked out some decor for your apartment. So later on, we can communicate with you through email or WhatsApp or SMS or whatever preferable channel the person would like to use, but we don't know it yet. So we're trying different, and then by AI, we're actually making the choice in the end which would be the preferable channel for the user. And this is how you build up the full customer journey for the person. Because usually for the e-commerce platforms, there are two choices. Either you invest a lot of money into the brand, or you invest a lot of money into performance marketing. We try to make the full journey complete, where we know everything about our customer, make it easy, relevant, and as a result, you're able to send the gifts any way you want.
Thank you. So here again, the intelligence really show up in the easy decision making, let's say. So all of this is very good, but as the platform is taking more responsibility in terms of decision making, I would like to open the question to all of you. What is the risk, and where should it stop?
Customer
I think
support.
I can take that because with the we introduced something, a generative AI, for basically assimilating all the different feedback that customers gives across the different channels and platforms. For BFL Group, to our shops, to our employees, to our products, and the tool actually gives us and summarizes the feedback, which then the customer care team and the customer service team looks at, and they do the action based on that. So where we are seeing is that of late, there's a lot of hallucination and a lot of prompt injections which are coming in from different customers who are trying to break that. I think it's very similar to hacking, but I think this is where the risk of AI goes, that if you leave it open, then, and you do not have a proper, like an API gateway, you have an AI gateway. Some of the tools like Apigee from Google actually does that, so it protects you from prompt injection, incorrect hallucinations of your tools, right? So if you don't do that, then really the AI can spiral into something that impact other customers when they are trying to ask questions or when they give the feedback, or it can result in us taking the wrong decisions and getting the wrong insights. So it's very important to ensure that it doesn't hallucinate, always do the sense check, ensure that the model on the language is always sanitized and curated, and it doesn't go in the other direction.
I could perhaps, yeah, okay. I suppose there's, and I'm going to talk again on the kind of the luxury side of e-commerce. But what I would say is that we've got to be really careful not to kind of thrust technology and AI, etc., in people's faces, because at the end of the day, we need trust. Okay, and it's about experiences. So what I would say is we've got to be very careful with having seamless experiences with AI, within that, and we've got to be careful with pushing it a bit too far, because I think again on luxury, we need people or customers to keep coming back over and over again and keep spending with us. Loyalty is super important. Something to watch out for.
I would like to jump on that because that's super interesting, and that's exactly how I feel also. For me, the limit of AI is the trust. As long as the AI feels helpful, and what we want is a customer to think, wow, this is exactly what I came from, and not feeling manipulated. This is exactly where is the limit. When the AI feels manipulative, this is where the trust can break. And the other risk for me is about BAs. Because we see that with, for example, social media like TikTok or Instagram. If we use AI for the merchandising, of course we will be tempted to show black shirts to someone who always buys black shirts. But we remove all this crush and instinct that could have pushed someone to try something else. And when you go on TikTok and when you use a lot TikTok, I'm a big user of TikTok, so I can speak for myself. I only see content that I like, and I only listen to people who agrees with me. And it's like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is always on your side. It always agrees with you most of the time. And this is, for me, the danger where we have to limit it. And we voluntarily slow down on this part, because when we work on inventory, we want people also to have a crush, like, oh, this item, I wouldn't have bought it normally, but the price is amazing and the piece is nice, so I'm gonna go for it. And this is where we have to limitate the BS, where we always show the same the things to the people, because they have a behavior according to that.
And this is where our CEO says that always augment AI with born intelligence, BI, and sometimes NS, which is natural stupidity. So don't trust AI completely, you have to put a little bit of BI into it as well.
And I think also the risk comes not just from their like communication with the client, but also it can come within the companies itself. Because, for example, you were just mentioning about the generative AI, which is becoming kind of normal these days. And the tendency that is coming right now that their personalization of the screens are going to be going further and further. And then imagine if you have already, okay, this user has this button, another user sees this button. The problem is the customer support, the human, wouldn't be able even to check it out as fast as AI. So then the customer support will be AI as well. And this direction, in my opinion, is not the best neither for clients nor for the owners of the companies, because you have to be present, you have to be human-centric, and here where you need to actually work with your product team back to back, so you actually are not getting to the point where you don't have a choice but to use AI, because AI is a tool.
Yeah, I think, sorry, just to finish up, because I know that we're running out of time. I feel that, in something like Divizzle, right, we don't know what the consumer is selling. And a picture can often, speak the wrong thing. So it's there to support. It's there to aid. I don't think it would take the place of the actual user generating that content themselves, because clearly it is their content, right? They know how used it is, or how damaged it might be, or how what the price might be that they're actually looking for. Because again, it's down to user and the content that they want to generate. So, for me, it's hand in hand. It's something that supports the user, certainly on a platform like Divizzle, and it will give us that opportunity, hopefully, to enable quicker listings and possibly quicker search. But it won't ever take the place, for now, of the actual of the commentary that user wants to deliver up for their product.
Thank you all. So we've seen today that product innovation is not only what you sell, but it's also how well is your platform make decision that customer can actually feel, but within limits. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.